UWDialectical is erratic war game, conscientiously, morally disturbed interrogation of a victim of torture is clearly evidence that Seattle's police society was behind the AIDS attack and the COVID monstrosity. I'd like to illustrate some evidence that verifies this obvious conclusion. The weirdos online appointed by Trumpytune, Putinese, to interrogate a completely innocent person who came forward with evidence of a monstrosity. Completely innocent person who was deafened as a child. Torture. It's just a constant grinding of erratic ideas. They don't even bother to try to link them into anything rational. I'll give you some examples. They say, I didn't assess childhood letters. They would flip out at the presumption of an Irish deaf child who'd been attacked, brutalized, and tortured, and had been called a squirrel, spelled S-Q-U-R-L, to take out the I-R-E, and been called goy and a lot of other noxious things. They would flip out at the presumption that I should assess letters of a Jewish girl from Israel. How dare I do that? And yet they say, I didn't assess childhood letters. Why would childhood letters be assessed? And yet they refuse to assess Diamond Dogs by David Bowie, which was clearly implicated by the circumstances surrounding the letters and their claims about the letters. It's full of innuendos about genocide and impending orgies of death. It's a death cult straight from Nazi Germany. Now, I grew up in the Jewish Holocaust survivor letters where the letters surfaced, Jewish Holocaust survivor community. Sidney Busis was the director of the Holocaust survivors of Allegheny County and was my first ear doctor. Okay, he injured me. And they gassed me in a place called Kansas State. Where do the political correctness ROTC people come in? They say, well, I said I hid in my towel closet. And they say, don't say like him, Frank. This is how maniacally stupid and thick-headed UWDialectical is. And I was exactly like Anne Frank because the Holocaust was going on, but you have no right to assess that. Don't say like Anne Frank. Don't investigate her. Don't assess her. Why didn't you assess her? Why didn't you assess Diamond Dogs by Bowie? They still refuse it because there's heaps of loyalty, selling loyalty to death cult, death cult, death cult, death cult of David Bowie. That's what they're doing. It's Europe at its worst. And okay, so they put this in the newspaper, Carnegie Mellon University. And then they mysteriously disappear that archive, but everybody saw it, okay? And then they poison me in the mouth when I get to UWDialectical, right? They poison me. They put this strange thing, tulip, which has Putin and Trump in it, and this thing comes up on my lip. A boil comes up on my lip. Tulip was a revolution in Eastern Europe. So, and this girl was from St. Louis. She was talking about taking a new tack. Okay, Trumpytune Putinese, but you're going to eat that. And then they poison me in the mouth. And then they launch COVID. Why didn't you assess that? Why didn't you assess that? How dare you assess that? These people are criminally insane. I'm not calling upon lawyers because lawyers are stupid, criminally insane, complicit. When you look at the Jewish Holocaust survivor community, you have people like Cyril Wecht. And what Cyril Wecht clearly did was say, look, we'll gun down the president of the United States in broad daylight, and they'll all sit there like sheep. They won't say anything. They'll just sit there like sheep. And that will prove that we can pull this off right here, right under their noses, rub their faces in it. And that's what they did. They rubbed their faces in it. And nobody cares. He was right. They gunned down our president like sheep. The UW dialectical, Trumpytune Putinese, right here. They scribbled up all sorts of blasphemy, rubbing it in their faces. They didn't care anybody know about COVID-19. They didn't care. They scribbled and blasphemy, rubbed it in their faces, just like they did that. The Colin Powell people run Robert Truck, just like they did this. And they said Joseph Goebbels was leader of the JDL and the NAACP. They said that in print for anybody to verify. Because Duvall supported Bush's rule on the AIDS attack, and because Leslie Katz supported Bush's rule on the AIDS attack, therefore Joseph Goebbels, leader of the JDL and the NAACP. It makes perfect sense. And that's why they said it, because it makes perfect sense. They supported it this time. So they kick our grannies out, right? That Lenin freaky say, I'll take the young and healthy. He was being literal. They're like, we're not young and healthy. They're not young and healthy anymore. How dare you assess that? You better assess that. I mean, they're creepy weird. Haters. They rip a murder to the girl. They gave each other AIDS deliberately. They can't stand the idea that somebody should get away. They want to spread disease. And they say, we'll compromise, we'll rape you. We'll compromise, we'll rip on you. This is the UWDialectical administration. This is the administration of the Seattle Mariners. This is the administration of King County. This is the people in charge giving orders to these assholes. Okay, that's what's going on here. I've looked at it over and over, and I've been poisoned by it over and over. I know what these people are doing. They're criminally sick, disturbed people. All of them are. You can't find an exception. You can't find a single frigging exception, not one. Okay, so what they did was they said, we can get away with this. We can gun down and they gratuitously. They killed Susie Kennedy, blah, blah, blah. And then when I sent a letter to Courtney, because she wrote to me, I could show it to you. She wrote to me and I sent her a letter. And when they delivered it, we'll deliver the letter. And they killed 2 more Kennedys and gave her an anonymous phone call. And this is the Trumpytune Putinese from Tacoma Community College. And they were scribbling, bragging about it. Oh, Winnie, and claiming that they represent the gays. The only reason they represent the gays is because the gays don't get auctioned for some reason. They don't get auctioned. The brains have been cut off by insane ideas that have been force-fed them from Thorles and Mick Jagger and all the other idiots. Assess David Bowie's Dime Bug and you get the picture. That's what exists in overlap with the letters of Gail Burstyn. Showing that you spent on, he says, I'm too fast to how others would see the papers. I mean, these people wrote the papers. They read the book because they wrote the book. And how dare you say I didn't assess this? How dare you say I didn't assess this? I'm the only person who has been assessing it.